spend half this movie like, this guy's got a real messed up Ed O'Neill kind of vibe.
Yeah.
He looks like James Bond's addicted to hand sanitizer.
That's fucking hilarious.
That's fucking great.
He's like, like the like Dolan and Gooby memes. He's Daniel Craig.
I don't know those ones.
It's just like Goofy and Donald, but they're drawn all messed up, and they call each other Gooby and Dolan. Right. He's like the messed up drawing of Daniel Craig, but exactly. But that would make his name like Daniel Craig.
Yeah.
Daniel Craig, Daniel Craig, we need to save the Queen or something. I need to chain smoke and think about what I've done.
I'm burning this puppet.
All right, man. Let's fuck. I mean, with that being said, let's just roll right into it. Fuck it. Let's get started. Welcome to the Devil's Work podcast. We are truly doing the Devil's Work today. We're watching fucked up movies and telling you about them so you don't have to watch them. Or you can if you want to.
You're going to watch them.
You know, ruin a Tuesday. You're going to watch them. Today, I am PsydeShow, joined by Skeptic.
Hello.
Today, Evelyn couldn't be with us, but we have a very special guest sitting in. Today, we have Jack from 156 Silence.
Yo.
Please, say hello to the people. Thank you so much for being here, man.
Hello. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here on this lovely Saturday.
Yeah, dude, this is such an honor to have you here because we've been talking about having bands on here and like kind of tying it, sort of making it a interview by way of a conversation about your favorite types of movies. Mm-hmm. So we don't want to really because again, you can go up, you can look up interviews. I looked up interviews on you guys, like other bands and stuff. You can go and look up. You can answer all the questions about the music. That's fine. But what we want to know is how does your brain work, and how did you make the music, and why did you make the music the way you did? You know what I mean? And I feel like a great place to start, to get to know somebody is through a conversation about movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you could tell a lot about somebody just by the movies you talk about with them, and that's what's awesome about them, for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I think the genre itself kind of lends to exploring darker sort of concepts with people. Mm-hmm. In a conversation you just generally don't have. You're like, hey, do you like to watch people get sliced open? Right. That's not a normal conversation to have. So.
I was gonna say, Jack, would you say this is one of your go-to movies to show people? I feel like everyone has a good handful.
I would not show this to just anybody, for sure. This is definitely for a select few people that are into this kind of vibe.
Yeah.
I would
recommend, say if it is, it's a little troubling.
I would recommend John Carpenter's The Thing to anybody because it's the greatest movie of all time.
Yeah.
But
absolutely,
this one's a little different.
This got a different odor about it, you know what I mean?
A bit of a rotten smell.
Today we're actually going to be talking about the movie Possum. I'm so terrible I didn't even look up
2018
the director.
2018. I thought you were going to say the year.
Year and the director, baby.
While you're looking up the director, I will say it kind of, for a while I was like, what is this reminding me of? These big long shots, a lot of them are from down the hallway, and then you can see him framed in the doorway, but they're very wide. It's
it gave me feel like he's alone. Vibe.
What?
Yeah.
Just White because Tower? Of the wide-angled shot, the light tower.
Interesting. Yeah, I haven't seen that. It sounds like PsydeShow's.
You haven't seen the light tower?
the light. I thought you said the White Tower.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. So like Robert
A24.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was like the Light Tower.
Oh, the lighthouse.
Lighthouse.
The lighthouse.
Sorry, I'm an idiot. Oh my god.
Okay.
Yeah. No, you're good.
I've been drinking. Sorry.
Look, we can all make music. We can't talk, all right?
Exactly. No, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're totally right about that lighthouse.
I was going to say, though, what it reminded me of is, like, there's been a trend recently on TikTok where it's like, going to dinner with my wife, she said I better not act like I'm in a Wes Anderson movie. And then and so they'll just do a bunch of like the Wes Anderson shots. But like the first 20 minutes of this, I was like, people joke about a Wes Anderson horror movie. This is what it would be like.
It really
literally,
is.
Literally, like, yeah, absolutely. This is a Wes Anderson horror movie, just coated in filth.
It is. It's just grody.
Yeah,
it's dark.
When he goes, Maurice, this place is disgusting. I was like, well, at least you're aware of it. Okay,
I was like,
absolutely.
I was like, you're just now saying that? He's like, that was like almost at the end of the movie.
Absolutely. This is directed by Matthew Holness. It was 2018. I believe I saw it like right around that time too, because I hadn't seen this in years.
What country is it?
It has to be UK.
But UK.
Okay,
UK.
That's what I thought, but I just wanted to be sure.
I don't know the specific one.
Yeah, UK. I have the short synopsis here.
They all look the same to me.
I'm gonna give too much away. After returning to his childhood home, a disgraced children's puppeteer is forced to confront his wicked stepfather and the secrets that have tortured his entire life. So, I mean, yeah, it's pretty straight. I mean, that's a pretty good overview of it.
That's a good general.
That's why we go through on this show
for somebody that doesn't need to watch the movie.
I love that how we know he's the stepfather is because he's like, yeah, you're good at making puppets. I was good too. My dad taught me. He runs in the family, and he goes, "You're not my dad.
You're not even my dad."
Yeah, I was like, okay, all right, because I was like, who is this guy? Like, just some old guy like squatting in the house, or like a weird roommate situation. And then when he does that, it's like, oh,
yeah, dude, it's disgusting. Oh man, so we have. I didn't even write down all the trigger warnings, but it's fucking disgusting.
Yeah, the jar is a trigger.
What's in the jar? I just don't like that. The whole time I was like, okay, there's a mystery jar, and there's some little green balls in it. I don't know what's in the balls. It's just like, what? That's obviously foreshadowing.
He doesn't even get an answer either. He just asks what's in them, same as always. It's like, well then, no.
Same as always.
What the fuck?
I was like, all right, fine.
He really has that Michael Caine accent.
Yeah, he has that accent for sure. Yeah.
I don't know what kind of British accent that is, but it's Michael Caine's accent.
There's 1,000 of them. I don't know.
Whatever it
Same
is,
as always. Did you defeat the penguin, Master Bruce? Get something from the jar.
So I didn't get to write down all of the trigger warnings, but if you could fire off a couple off the top of your head,
it's like more implicative than anything. Like there's implications of children being harmed.
That's how it starts off.
It's
too.
not.
As soon as I have that written down with the balloon scene in the beginning, and it fills with the black smoke. It's like, all right, there's obviously going to be some adolescent abuse here, and I'm like, oh, come on. It's the whole time you're just like, God
it
damn
gets you it gets you nice and uncomfortable right off the bat.
Yeah,
for sure. So yeah, if there's abuse towards children, we have. I guess implications of sexual assault for sure, but like I mean, even towards the very, very, very end of this is like rough for a couple of reasons.
That's
but
where it's like
Yeah, that's where all of the implications just kind of come up to the surface, and it's just kind of there.
It gives you a lot more time to like prepare yourself than some of the other movies that we've done. Like it's so much foreboding and like foreshadowing.
You mean the entire movie is foreshadowing?
For sure.
Yeah,
literally.
Yeah, you just spend like the whole time like tensing up.
Yeah,
and like being ready for it, as opposed to like just starting and like real bad stuff is happening on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Absolutely. And it doesn't like, that's the thing too, it's tense throughout the whole way, and you don't really like, the runtime is interesting on this one because it's only an hour and like 20 minutes.
It doesn't feel like that.
It doesn't
long
feel
at all.
like that.
Yeah, it moves, even though it's like meditative towards the beginning, but it's still moving along.
Right.
Absolutely.
I think what
it's
helps
a very
that especially
interesting...
is his just the poem throughout the movie, how it keeps repeating, it keeps adding to it.
Yeah. It's fucking fascinating. I love the poetry in this. Like, it's so well done too. And like, obviously as like writers ourselves, it's like you're looking at like the cadence of it, and like the, it's like, oh, that's actually clever, like wordplay and stuff like that. So it's very interesting on that level too, for sure.
Also the music, especially like when something you wouldn't think is about to happen, you start to have your ears ring. You get that tinnitus sound.
Dude. It's exactly. Tinnitus, dude. That's such a great way of putting that, because it's literally just like the ringing in your ear, and you're just like, what the fuck is happening? And then just something shocking happens. Yeah. It's so good. But I got all those trigger warnings.
I guess arachnophobia, like to a degree. Actually,
if you didn't guess by the cover.
Well, because it's called Possum, so it's weird. It's weird that it's got spider legs.
Absolutely.
He's a mixed up guy. Yeah.
He's a mixed up guy. Yeah, absolutely. Animal abuse. You are correct. We are definitely getting into that for sure.
I love a movie that like I love when they just talk about stuff without showing it.
Yeah,
like, I love that kind of thing.
One thing that I really appreciated about this movie was not having to see that fox be tortured.
Absolutely.
That's hell of why is that so much harder for us to watch?
I know, right?
But it is. But it is. I'm just glad, occasionally we have to watch a cat or a dog die in a movie. I'm just glad it's never a cat. I feel like that would be even harder to see.
It is. Oh, man. Well, if all of that sounds like a good time to you, go ahead and find this movie and put yourself through it, man. We're truly doing the devil's work today, man. This movie's fucking gross. I love it. And I will say that I'm going to say this before because I forget, or to even, say this later. I think this was a very interesting pick for you to approach me with, Jack, because I feel it's hard putting this into words, but I feel 156's music has this layer of like grit over it that I haven't heard in a long time from like a good fucking like hardcore band or like a metalcore band. I haven't heard that for like, there's just a grit to it. There's an animosity there that I seem to miss a lot of the time. But like this movie has a layer of filth in the same way 156's music has that layer of grit over it. It's something
subtle filth. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. So I appreciate you coming and approaching me with this movie, because that's actually perfect for your guys' music. I love that.
Yeah, I actually have been telling my bandmates to watch this fucking movie for a while, just for the imagery, because like just the different shot angles, the credit scenes and everything, like everything about it visually is just a fucking awesome movie.
It
absolutely.
It's one where that almost every, if not every shot is so purposeful to the point where it's like none of these are just shots that they thought looked cool on the day. Like it's all very meaningful. Like those shots in the house I was talking about, like you feel how alone he is there, and then finding out someone else is there but then it's continued to be framed like that. Like he may as well be alone. You know what I mean? Like,
and how he just like he sees, like he's obviously grown up into that house, and now he's like unable to go through certain doors. He's unable to walk through the house like he grew up in, and it's like it's very evident that something's wrong, but you don't know what for the entire goddamn fucking movie until the last 2 minutes.
Yeah,
absolutely. It literally is the last like couple of minutes of this movie. Everything gets answered.
It's funny because just thinking about it, like a shot for shot synopsis of this movie is like he's walking around with a bag. He sets it down. He thinks about it. He picks it up. He goes somewhere else with the bag.
What's in the fucking bag?
All right, so get ready for a lot of that right now.
Is it Gwyneth Paltrow's head? Because that would settle a bet.
Exactly, because that would settle a bet. All right, so if you guys, it sounds good to you guys, go ahead and find this. I think it's on Tubi right now for free.
Mm-hmm.
It's on Amazon as well.
I personally bought it because I was just like, fuck it, I need to own this movie regardless. So.
I just rented it on Apple.
It's free on Amazon Prime.
$4. Nice.
There you go. Also on Prime. There you go. All right, well, let's get into it then. We open with a man standing in a desolate field while a voiceover recites a poem. Mother, father, what's afoot? Only possum black as soot. Mother, father, where to tread? Far from possum and his head. Here's a bag, now what's inside? Does he seek or does he hide? Can you spy him? See within, little possum black as sin. The man's name is Philip, and he's standing in front of a brown leather bag that's placed in the center of an oddly growing tree resembling spider legs.
You know what? It does resemble spider legs, but what it more made me think of is like a mother giving birth with her legs in the stirrups. Like
interesting.
Like I got the vibe he didn't make this puppet; he found it there in the woods.
I thought I was looking at myself.
Just fucking, you're forced to reckon with your own
fucking spidery mortality.
Yeah, exactly.
I was just like, oh man, that looks like my legs.
Spindly motherfucker. But because we go back a couple times, like when eventually he returns there, but and he's like wearing his coat, and then we see shots of him not wearing his coat, picking it. So I just get the vibe he like discovered this puppet. He didn't build it.
That's interesting.
Well, like
that's very interesting.
What the hell does he? So he's a puppeteer, but so he's a disgraced puppeteer. They talk about how he had some kind of performance and got fired for something, right?
I think so.
And he's like, "They'll take me back."
It's really not clear.
Yeah,
like there's really like maybe
brief. 2
lines of dialogue that even express that he was doing this like at one point professionally. Yeah. It's really not fucking made clear
whatsoever.
Yeah, they allude to it a couple times, and then when he's standing outside the school and he's like, "This is my old school," and they're like, "Yeah, well, piss off," you know?
Yeah. That's literally, you don't ever get a sense about his profession. Go there?
And then he goes back again and asks for his teacher, and then leaves. It's like, what are you doing? I was like, are you going to burn the fucking puppet or not?
That's fucking great. So he kneels down to unzip the bag and very quickly stands up, and we see a limb of some sort start to creep out, but it's interrupted by a title card. And this is fucking dope. I love this opening sequence so much. It reminds me of a 156 music video, bro.
It
totally does.
It hella reminds me. It hella reminds me of like an anime opening.
It's totally a music video opening, dude.
All the like color bleed happening and stuff, and
I see it.
like
I see it now.
distortion of the images, kind of.
Yeah, for
the
sure.
The desolate looking like places. I mean,
you're making me find out more about myself. Yeah.
I appreciate it. We get an insanely cool sequence of decrepit looking houses and creepy figures in windows, plus spider legs fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
And, we cut to the same bag as before, sitting on top of Philip's bed in the morning as he's preparing to leave. On the train, he sees a couple of young boys seated down the aisle from him. One of the boys is drawing something in a notepad and happens to catch Philip staring at him, which weirds him out.
What the fuck are you drawing?
Obviously.
Yeah. He has such strange energy. And it's funny because really occasionally I take the train to and from work, and occasionally you'll see someone and there'll be something and you'll want to be like, "Oh, hey, what's that book or something?" But then you just like keep your shit to yourself.
You just don't. Yeah, you just
like a normal
don't.
human being.
Yeah, occasionally you're like, you'll see someone and be like, no, it's not worth it.
Yeah,
This guy's like, I know, I'll approach a 14-year-old boy. This will go well. The optics on this are good.
I'm gonna approach this one boy amongst three others. And I'm going to make him feel slightly uncomfortable. Yeah. I'm sure he won't say a thing.
Hey, boy, lagging behind, are you?
Oh, man. So,
then he just goes straight to his house.
When the boys exit the train, Philip follows them out, but he goes his own way. Before he goes inside his own home, though, he stops and pauses for a minute. He sheepishly walks in and lays the bag down on the middle of the floor, and we get a great little segment of a trippy-ass vignette showing a group of yellow and orange balloons against an unsettling children's room wallpaper as black smoke engulfs the room. This is that image you were talking about earlier.
Yes, sir. He goes up the stairs.
Philip wanders the house and eventually ends up in his old room reading a book that he hides away in his floorboard when he's finished with it.
But we still don't know that it's his home yet.
Downstairs.
Like there's no
that's
indication
fair.
that it's his house.
That's actually fair. I mean,
he just walks into a house.
You're totally right. There again, we absolutely mean this. They do not give you shit.
There's
about
nothing.
Shit in this movie.
There's nothing.
There is no indicator for a goddamn thing. It's incredible. I love that so much about this movie, though. So when he goes back downstairs, the bag is no longer where he left it, and he looks into the kitchen through a cracked door and sees it sitting on the table. He calls out for a man named Morris, but gets no response. We see him in the backyard throwing the object he was carrying around in the bag into a trash barrel. It appears to be a large puppet of some sort with spindly legs that resemble that of a spider. When he goes to zip the bag back up, he sees a fox staring at him and pauses for a second. Before going back into the house, he leaves the bag on the floor outside.
So he sees the fox, and it's like, all right, there's going to be a fox, apparently.
Yeah, exactly. You're just like, all right, what is it? Is it gonna attack him? What the fuck is it gonna do? Like, what's going on? Nothing.
Nothing. Yeah, exactly.
Nothing. He just walks. We get another snippet of the poem. Bag is open, growing wider. What's inside, man or spider? Little boy, don't lose your way. Possum wants to come and play. That's just such great work. It's so foreboding. Like you keep saying, like I can't get that low and like that like gravel. I can't do that right. I can't do that right now. I can't turn it on like you can.
That low, gravelly but lilting.
Yeah, just start drinking right now,
dude.
Start housing hand sanitizer.
Got you 20 minutes in, you're golden. Cut to Philip being awakened by a bug crawling on his face. This is fucking gross. I love this part. He shakes it off and looks around the room for a brief moment before realizing the puppet is laying in bed next to him. Disgusted, he tosses it off.
Yeah.
Dude, that reveal, it took me I had to like rewind it twice. I was like, wait, is it fucking there? And I was like, oh my God, it's at the bottom of the screen.
Well, he's awoken by a bug on his fucking eyelid. I'm like, oh, great.
Yeah,
bugs.
Exactly. But then he like looks over and it's just fucking like half of it just looking at him. It's so fucking eerie, dude.
Yeah, it's an uncomfortable ride.
I love it, dude. So while he dries off his face, the puppet can be seen in the mirror hanging behind him. Before he leaves the house, he pauses at a particular room next to the front door, and we finally see Morris as he asks Philip, going in? To which Philip responds with an almost disgusted no.
Yeah, like of course not, you know, but he's obviously thinking about it.
You got the voices. You guys got the voices from here. I fucking love, dude. Just the recurring question of him asking
dirty
him
ass
like
fucking robe.
Ugh.
It's so gross.
In the disgusting like kitchen, he's like hanging out in the kitchen.
There's literally
basically.
no lighting in the house at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh, it's fucking gross. Anyway, yeah, Morris asks, mind of its own? The legs are impressive. What exactly is it? He tells him it's a puppet, and Morris asks if he shows it to children. Philip says that he's destroying it. He takes a sip of his coffee and then spits it out, to which Morris responds with, now you won't get something from the jar. And we see a jar behind a glass cupboard containing little green candies of some sort. And the whole fucking movie, what the fuck is in the jar?
Yeah,
bro? Like,
yeah, no fucking idea. But the way
it looked like olives.
When we finally see, ugh.
I thought it was olives.
That's true. That's so great. Like that made me gag a little bit. Oh man. Morris asks for a demonstration before he kills it because he wants to see how the legs work.
And the way he says before you kill it, and then he's like, you can't kill it. It's a puppet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And there's just like obviously an awkward tension between the two of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much so. That you immediately feel like it's the way he even like beckons him over, or like he's like, well, come on in, like, and then he just like kind of puts his head down and like does it begrudgingly. Like he just kind of he's like a kid. Like he's just being like shunted. You're just like, oh my God, what the fuck?
Yeah.
He tells him that the place is disgusting before he leaves. And yeah, of course, you're just now realizing this, bro. It's fucking gross, man. That shit, there ain't enough like bleach wipes and fucking Fabuloso in the world to take that motherfucker out.
Name dropped Fabuloso. Actually, one of the sponsors of this pod. Fabuloso. Put it in your eyes after watching these movies. And I
drink it if you're not a pussy.
I do have some copy here. It says the Fabuloso Corporation does not want you imbibing their product.
That's amazing. We see Philip smoking a cigarette on a swing set as a couple with a child walks nearby. He focuses on them before looking over and seeing the puppet fully splayed out on the ground just a few feet away from him, which I'm like this is gonna keep happening, but you're just like, does he just like place the puppet out and just go fucking like stand 10 feet away from it and look at it?
That's all. Well, yeah, and then he goes to this weird spot in the woods that looks like the puppet, and then he places the bag on these branches that makes it look like the puppet. Yep. And then it comes out of the bag, and it's like, oh,
it's so gross. It's so gross because I love it because a lot of like the movements are not like seen right away. It's very implied at first, like the very beginning, like the bag opening. You just see that little like arm just barely starting to creep out. Cut to
There's
black.
Something I don't know what it is. You don't see the
actual movement. You just see the puppet
legs
just fucking hanging around.
Yeah.
For
it's
some
unsettling.
reason, I heard that the human brain can't comprehend more than 4 moving parts. So anytime there's more than 4 moving limbs, our brains get all freaked out by that.
Interesting.
What? That's interesting.
I thought you were gonna say about how like certain phobias that we have, like the dark and heights and stuff like that, is like evolutionary. Because like if when we didn't have civilization, if you go out in the dark, chances are you're gonna die. If you're running around on a ledge and not paying attention, you fall off. But exactly. Arachnophobia is theorized to be like another one of those, and there's sort of same with like the uncanny valley, where it's like, so what happened that made us so weird about these things?
Right.
like the other ones are pretty easy to be like, yeah, lots of people died that way.
Yeah,
we put it together.
Absolutely.
But yeah, like you said, like what about why exactly is that the limit to our brains? Like,
yeah,
that's fascinating. That's what I didn't. Thank you for pointing that out. That's very interesting, actually. That's a pretty good like scientific explanation for the actual like fear of spiders, though. Like the fact that they have more than 4 moving limbs at
centipedes,
once.
Octopus.
You know what I mean? It's like, okay, at least it helps to.
Yeah.
Yep. It helps to put it down into words, I guess. And then we get we follow him into the woods as he finds his way to a marsh to have another smoke. And this is our first look at the marsh.
He's been smoking this entire time. What do you mean?
Yeah, exactly. He's just chain smoking the entire movie.
He just in the middle of like 40 minutes into the movie, he just goes, that Marlboro flavor.
I was like, I think I'm gonna go start rolling cigarettes.
He's
buy some tobacco.
You know where I should dump this puppet? Flavor Country. No one will find it there.
That's amazing. So we get another snippet of the poem. Look at Possum, there he lies. Children meet his lifeless eyes. See his nasty legs and tongue. When he wakens, watch him run. And so now we're sort of given the context that the Possum is the name of the puppet.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like, well, now it's been ascribed to the puppet.
But has it?
So from now on, I mean,
like,
that's fair as well, you know. But from now on, for our purposes, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to be referring to the puppet as Possum.
Right.
But does it? So good. So, Philip's smoke is interrupted when he realizes that the puppet is once again splayed out in front of him just a few feet away. All muddy and shit.
All muddy and shit.
Back at home, Philip asks Morris to borrow some tools, and Morris asks if he's hungry because there's roast fox. Philip, unimpressed with the apparent joke, responds with a sarcastic, funny.
Yeah.
Wait. You missed the part where he was like sitting out there by the water, and some random dude yelled his name. That was the first time we found out his name was Philip.
That's right. Okay, thank you for that, because I forgot to write those. I took note mentally of that, but I was just like, oh, what the fuck does that mean? And then later on I was like, oh, that's what that fucking means.
Like that was and they still don't tell you that his name's Philip. He just like heard the name Philip yelled while he was out there smoking
whipped around.
And he could have just been responding to someone screaming too. So it's like, that doesn't even. I completely right. Absolutely. Literally, this is like Implication the movie, bro. When Philip says he's dismantling the puppet in his own time, Morris says, pity. Puppetry is the one thing you were good at. He then pulls out a marionette that was sitting nearby, and Philip is dumbstruck. He has such an uncomfortable look on his face in this moment. When Morris comments on how well made the puppet is and that his father taught him how to perform, Philip cuts him short and says, "You're not my father."
Yeah. You're not my dad.
And we get the first. Yeah, exactly. We get the first "fuck you, dad" moment of this movie. Just before Philip turns in for bed, he treats himself to a little primetime white noise. The static on the TV cuts to a newscast about the police searching for a missing teenager that was last seen on his way home from school. I love it because it's
like back to static.
I just wonder what teenager that was.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's
fucking Chekhov's victimized child.
Chekhov's child. It's amazing. Walking down some stairs, Philip passes two young men having a smoke, one of which asks, "Is that you, pervert?" And he slowly turns around and stares at them until they're made. Yeah. He turns around and stares at them until they're made so uncomfortable they decide to leave.
But he looks at them like he was like surprised.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like he was like
He's just
looking at them like, "Are you talking to me?"
Yeah.
Not even like maliciously. It was just like confused.
Yeah.
Like legitimately confused.
And at this point, we're all just sitting there being like, okay, what did this guy do to this kid? You know, like it feels like, you know, there's obviously a connective tissue here. There's no reason for both of these things to be in the movie if they're not connected. You're just sitting there being like, you know, what is this guy's deal? Then they call him a pervert, and he turns around and like stands his ground. And it casts more doubt because you don't know anything, but you're just doubting in so many directions at this point.
Yeah, the performance is fantastic too, because it really does leave a lot open to interpretation. He really he plays it so like neutrally, if that makes sense. Like he's really very neutral about his expressions.
He just
but,
looks like he smells a fart the entire movie.
I mean, in that house, probably.
Exactly, in that house, it's absolutely correct. That's where farts are born, bro.
Jesus.
So after the kid asks him, you know, "Is that you, pervert?" I said, then he decides to double down on this and stands right outside his schoolyard staring at the building.
I'm just gonna go to a school. I don't look creepy.
Yeah, I'll show them how much not a pervert I am.
You know what doesn't look suspicious? Staring at a kindergarten class.
Begrudgingly.
So true. Oh man. So when someone comes out to confront him about his intentions there, he tells them that this used to be his school, and Philip is told to get lost, so he does. He makes his way to the woods where he finds the same...
I'm sorry, just the way he goes, "Yes, sir. Sorry, sir."
Yeah, he's very like bad dog. Like bad
"Yes,
boy.
sir. Sorry, sir. I'm just gonna go back to the woods, sir."
I'll go wank in the woods, sir, as God intended, sir.
So get the fuck out of here. Oh man. So yeah, he makes his way to the woods again, where he finds the same tree from the beginning sequence. we again see him kneeling down to unzip the bag, but he's interrupted by a voice off screen that yells his name.
This is when the ears start ringing
so that
again.
was the first note I made of it. But you're right. It is the second. That's the second time, correct? That happens.
Mm-hmm.
That's when the ears start ringing.
Okay. Yeah. You're right. You're totally right. He comes to a strange looking bridge and then throws the bag into maybe a foot of water.
I'm gonna take a minute here on this bridge because the entire time I was just angry looking at it. This bridge is bullshit.
No, please go ahead.
This bridge is actual dog shit, and I fucking hate it. And it made me mad. It's just a 2x12 with some fence posts around it, and they call it a bridge.
Yeah.
Over a shallow stream.
They call it a bridge. Yeah.
He ends up fucking ditching the puppet later on. Sorry, I'm skipping a little bit, but
you're good.
I'll get back to the bridge, but it pisses me off.
Go off, King.
I hate the bridge. That's it.
I was looking. I was like, man, my fat ass would take that shit down with a sneeze, dog. Like,
I hate whoever built that bridge.
It must be for like when the river is really high or something. Like there must be like one time of year where that bridge matters, but it's not the time of year where he's there.
Are storming the kingdom.
Yeah, it's a shitty bridge for sure.
It is, dude. Like he has to like fucking 1 foot in front of the other of that bitch, and like just to get across it half the time. He can't just like run across it.
It's the worst bridge.
It's not possible.
It's a dog shit bridge. Fuck the bridge.
It's a fuck the bridge. All right, moving on. Oh man, so he tosses the bag into maybe a foot of water. I don't know how the fuck it.
Yeah, you're being generous. You're being
literally,
real generous.
there's no. Yeah, absolutely. He throws it into the mud. That's what he does.
Yeah. He's like, all right.
He gets up in a panic and begins. Yeah, absolutely. He gets up in a panic and begins looking everywhere for the bag, but it's nowhere to be found. And we see a wide shot of the puppet laying in the foreground, muddy and gross, while Philip stumbles towards it looking confused. It's so cool. It's just laying in the fucking mud, like out in the open.
Yeah.
And at this point, you're like, why don't you just burn it?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
When he first put it in the steel drum.
Many different places he's going to put it still.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's got to show at the world on his last day. So we get another poem. Wait a while, my little child, for what is playing dead. Possum with his black balloons will eat you up in bed. And yeah, this is going to start off the first fucking fever dream sequence that we have. It's just a bunch of like strange little vignettes of like a black balloon floating, Phillips running through the marsh, him staring Possum in the face as it hangs on the wall. Then more black balloons floating as they fly away. The puppet's face can be seen in a window nearby staring at him. It's like, it's a fucking fever dream sequence. I love it, dude. There's more creepy footage of long hallways and then spider legs slowly wrapping around the wall until it finally ends with the puppet back in bed with Philip. It's so, those fucking sequences are so well done. I love it so much because they really do just like, you're looking at it for like not too long, but you're looking at a hallway long enough to be like, what the fuck am I looking for? And why do I know something's going to come around that corner? And then it fucking does.
and you're like, what does this puppet represent? Like, it's obviously a symbol for something.
Yeah. Whole time I'm like, I don't know what the fuck is going on, but he's carrying it around, and I mean that alone leads me to believe.
Honestly,
it's some sort of
I love the bag it's in. It's a nice bag. I have that written down multiple times.
Oh yeah,
how cool the bag is.
That's good. Fuck that bridge. That's a good ass bag though.
Like the time
classy.
he ditched it on the bridge, he threw the bag over, and then he left, and then he comes back. The bag's gone, but the puppet's there in the mud, and then the bag's back again.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Literally, you have no answers for any of these fucking questions.
There's a lot of unreliable shit happening.
Literally, it's so good. Yeah, and again, this is just one of those that just keeps giving you more like questions than fucking answers the entire time. But I what I do appreciate about it is that if you do watch this again with those like with the ending in mind and everything and all of the answers in mind, it really is like all laid bare in front of you. They are fucking putting all of the answers out there. They're saying what happened. They're saying everything. It's just like they're showing you the result first, and then then they leave you with the question afterwards. You know what I mean? Like the reverse fucking like it's like a reverse riddle or some shit. You know?
Yeah.
It's like Jeopardy.
It just leaves you feeling bad and questioning yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So he angrily stuffs Possum back into the bag and goes about his day. Morris sees Philip on his way out and asks, "Waking up, is it?" Wants to get out. He offers him something from the jar again. And Philip asks, "What's in them?" Morris replies with the
same as always.
Same as always. He's met with a stern no then. And then he asks him the same line that is going to return later, but he's like, all grown up now. It's just so unset. I love the way he played him. I hate the fucking character of Morris, though. It's so disgusting.
Oh, dude, he's the worst.
Yeah.
There's nothing good.
Yeah.
There's not one redeemable quality about him. He's just dog shit. You know he's sinister as fuck.
Just dog shit in a human being. So Morris puts a cigarette to his lips and waits for Philip to give him a light. Which he does, and it's like such an automatic response for him that he's almost like in disbelief that he's doing it at all. I fucking loved that scene. That was fucked, man. Morris demands that Philip tell him again about the fox.
He just loves making him like talk about
just fucked up
parts
shit.
of his childhood.
Yeah, he just keeps bringing up bad shit. Like, so tell me about the foxes.
Yeah, he just gets off on it. You do it so well.
Yeah, I've seen this movie 4 times.
I love it. So Philip very reluctantly tells him a story about being out in the marshes with a few other boys when they came upon a wounded or sick fox. They began kicking it around like it was a ball, and then they stuck things in it till it was dead, he says.
The way they said that too, like it sounds like it was like sexual.
Well,
you think so?
Sounds like kids being kids.
well, not like it's necessarily like sexual, but like they stuck things in this fox's ass. Is like how it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
Like just the weird stuff that kids do because they're like they don't understand anything.
Yeah.
So like
and then they shove Philip's face in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. They shoved his face in it, and they begin laughing at him as he cries.
Yeah.
But when they leave him alone with the fox, it apparently opens his eyes and it stares at him before it stands up, before it like walks away.
Yeah, and I think it's more evocative for him to tell the story. We were like mentioning this earlier. But it's better that he tells the story than we're explicitly shown it.
It's also foreshadowing for playing Possum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the way that right. I made that connection too. Like mentally when I saw it, I was like, oh, there's the play on the word.
Yeah, because Because I guess foxes do play dead too, but they're like more of a like seen as like a powerful animal, like like they're strong. They do their own hunting. Possums, I believe, are scavengers. I don't think they like really do any fighting or killing or hunting. They just eat what they come across and play dead because they don't want to fight anybody.
Yeah. Morris is amused by the story and tells Philip that the fox was sly and playing with him. He then exclaims that they're demolishing the old barracks. About bloody time, black as sin it is.
Mm-hmm.
Philip is taken back by the phrasing, and he turns to leave. That was interesting.
Yeah, you're wondering what like the implication is. You get this sense it's almost like Silent Hill, how like from the character's perspective, you're like, I'm in this town, there's all this weird stuff happening, like I have to kind of try to unravel one at a time to understand what's going here. It feels like that. Like it's also mysterious and alluded to. You start to go mad along with him, kind of, because you're like, what even is anything here?
Yeah, 1,000%. As he walks towards the front door, he stops by the same room as before and is met with the same question from Morris: "Going in?"
Mm-hmm.
Going in.
And then he just walks away.
So what is in this door? He keeps asking him.
I kept thinking it must be his mom's room, because at this point you're like, okay, you're not the father, you must be a stepfather.
Yeah.
Like what is going on? And then that's what I got the sense is like maybe his like sick mother is in that room or something.
Yeah, there's definitely something he doesn't want to confront behind that door.
Yeah, absolutely. Like some sort of reality that he doesn't want to like be faced with, for sure. Philip returns to the spider tree area, only to walk past it and into the aforementioned old barracks. He roams the hallways and finds a room with a dirty mattress on the floor next to a chair. And there's a beret sitting on top of the bed.
Yeah, this was such a weird... I was like trying to decipher what this meant for so long. And now afterwards, I feel like I get it. But in the moment...
At first I thought it was like the puppet's bed. I was like, what is this little tiny bed thing?
Yeah, I was like, are they like killing kids here? And these are like the remnants?
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah. For sure. I mean, yeah, again, all of this is just like... It's showing you the answers, and then you're just left with the questions first. Like
also in one of his pictures in his journal, I believe that there's a little boy wearing a beret.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't catch that. That's interesting. Oh, that's a good catch.
Yeah. And then from what his dad said, it sounds like, or not his dad, what Maurice said.
Uncle Maurice.
Uncle Morris.
It sounds like maybe he attended that school, like from the dialogue and from the drawing.
Yeah. Philip exits the building and takes Possum out of the bag, lifting it from the fucking head, and holds it above him before throwing it on the ground and promptly beating the shit out of it like it owes him money.
Yeah, yeah. He's like fucking punching it and stomping it and shit.
Stomping it, and it's just still the same puppet in the end, just looking back at him.
Insert that meme. You're killing him.
Unscathed.
Stop it! You're killing him.
Oh man. Cut to him placing bricks into the same bag, and tossing it into a moat of some kind nearby. I was like, "What is this?"
At this point, I'm just so fucking sick of him not being able to get rid of this goddamn puppet.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like a much less charming version of the ball from Changeling.
Yeah. It just keeps coming back. Just keeps like, much less charming. That's fantastic.
There's even in Changeling, he throws the ball off of a bridge, and he does the same thing here. But the budgets are very different.
Canada's working with more cash, I think.
When he gets home, he sees the he sees the newspaper with the abducted schoolboy, the same one that he confronted.
I wonder if there's something there in terms of like multiple forms of media showing him that story. Because like he gets it through the TV, we hear about it. It could be on a radio at one point because it's like in the subtitles at different points, like in the background. He gets it in the newspaper. It's mostly
through newspapers, newspaper clippings, and then the newscast that they have going on.
Yeah,
because there's several of them that happen on the TV. But yeah, you're right. He gets home and he calls out for Morris again, but gets no response. He finds the paper open to an article about the missing boy that had been reported earlier. And as he's getting ready for bed that night, Philip hears Morris obnoxiously reading out loud. He's reciting the poem we've been hearing Philip recite during the narration. It's entitled Possum, How He Came into the World, 1979, by Philip Connell.
Yeah.
He tearfully goes to confront him and asks where he got the book from. Morris says that it fell from the ceiling before Philip snatches it away from him.
Just laughing like a dick.
Yeah.
It's so it's disgusting. It's like cigarettes if they had a laugh.
That's fucking hilarious. He's just a walking cigarette with the male pattern horseshoe.
Fucking great. He laughs and asks if Possum is dead yet. Philip responds with mind your own business. Morris adds maybe it's still playing, which I thought was fucking great. I thought it was creepy as shit.
He goes, why didn't you burn, Morris?
Yeah.
So obviously there was a fire. He lights his lighter and he points at him.
It was a fire of some sort. They don't tell you. They don't tell you shit. Yeah, they just say a fire. Like
I saw something at some point. I don't remember where, but when I was looking stuff up like about this movie, it said that essentially, not that he like challenged himself, but that's like how I sort of interpret it. Is like the director like challenged himself to make a movie with as little dialogue and direct plot as possible. Like that was his. Like
he's so
pretty
artsy.
Fucking successful.
He's so artsy.
Like that was his maybe not his challenge to himself, but that was what he was thinking. Was like, yeah, a lot of this is outside of the main plot. You have to think about it and connect it.
It's very David
but there's
Lynch.
So little. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, big time.
Oh yeah, very much. He sits to have a smoke with Morris. He sits to have a smoke and tells Morris that he won't see him again. Morris tells him that the trains aren't running at the moment and that he'd better be careful because people have started talking about him.
Yeah.
And that's it. He doesn't even say anything. He just says people have started talking. There's no implication that he's even being looked at yet for the murders, or I guess missing child.
Yeah, but you can tell that he's you can tell that he's uneasy about it, that he has some sort of guilt about it, because every time the story comes in front of him, it's in such like fantastical ways. Of like the TV's static and then it turns on just to say that and then goes back to static and like he just perfectly finds the newspaper waiting ready, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like opened right up
absolutely.
to it. Like it's such an unreliable narrator kind of movie where like we're not seeing everything and what we're seeing isn't necessarily truly happening.
Yeah, and it's also like you're seeing everything through his perspective, who he already has been shown himself to be an unreliable narrator. So it's like that makes it even more confusing because you're actually physically seeing the things that he thinks are only happening in his own head.
Yeah, I saw someone say 85% of the dialogue takes place in the last 3 minutes.
It's true.
It really does.
It's so true.
It really
is. It's like all of the exposition just fucking happens in the last 10 minutes.
They were saving up their words.
That's funny as shit. But yeah, he flicks the lighter a few times and he asks Morris, "Why didn't you burn? Why wasn't it you?" and sitting on his bed, he flips through the pages of the books before turning out the light and placing it beside him while he cries.
Yeah.
That was fucking sad, dude.
Yeah.
It's just like,
but it's like at this point,
tell
you're like, is he mourning?
His privacy was completely invaded, and he's like, yeah, it's just like he's reminded of everything.
And exactly. We hadn't mentioned this, but a couple times now, almost every time he interacts with Morris, there's a like an implication or like he outright says it, but like Maurice will be like, oh, something, your puppet, and then he'll be like, yeah, and this house is mine too.
Yeah, you're right.
He's like, oh, you're staying? Yeah, this is my house. Mm-hmm. So that's why at first I was like, is this just some guy that's squatting here? Like what is the deal with this guy? But yeah, you can tell like the ownership and the like sassiness. So that's what made me think for a long time, like maybe the mom is sick and that's why she's in that room, or she died and there's a questionable inheritance going on. You know what I mean? Like there's
right.
Yeah. Well, because I think right now I kind of the answers kind of got. I mean, not answered, but a little more context is given when he goes.
I think, like you said, it operates in reverse. Where if we had started with some of the questions from the end of the movie, we would be able to answer those throughout the movie. But instead, we get answers without context of questions. So then you are just trying to figure out what the fuck this matches to like make anything.
For sure. It's not quite on the scale of like Memento in terms of like the order of events happening, but it is like in that same vein, like a Lynchian type of like linear story, you know, like there is a linear thing going on, but it's just we're plopped in the middle of it.
Yeah, the revelations play out in a strange manner for sure.
Well, he's constantly having these weird little flashbacks, and then he's going through the current problems that he's having, and it's nothing's really consistent.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. The next morning, he goes to the train station, but finds that Morris was unfortunately right about what he said earlier, and no one is there. He wanders around underneath the tracks and goes to have a smoke again when he pulls out a picture of his parents that he keeps inside of his cigarette tin.
Yeah,
it's which I thought this was kind of giving a little more context. Okay, so they obviously the parents are dead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But like and it was a fire of some sort, but you don't like that's where it stops. There's no fucking like, did Morris fucking kill him? Like,
yeah, they don't tell you
what the fuck. Yeah, they don't tell you a goddamn thing. So
yeah,
this was fucking cool. We cut to a slow zoom on the door that he kept stopping in front of earlier, but it's nighttime and the score is intense. I love it's just fucking slow crawl on that door, that same door, and it looks evil. You're just like, ooh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, I don't even want to go in there. What the fuck? Walking down the road, Philip comes across a dead fox lying in some bushes. He walks past it, and after a second or two, turns back to see it on all fours staring at him. Which is like, did that fucking actually happen? Or what's going on?
Right.
He returns home and calls for Morris once again, but of course gets no response. When he walks into his room, he's shocked to see Possum hanging from the same hook as before, with the exact mirror being used for the reveal. I thought that was fucking great because it's the same one that he was washing his face in front of earlier. It's almost in the same exact position. It was eerie.
Yeah, for which revelation?
I got it as like he was it was like him in the mirror, but
yeah. It's just showing Possum in the room, hanging in the room when he he walks in.
Yeah. And something I noticed people saying online is like as the film goes on, his face starts to look more like Possum's.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I meant to point that out, but when he's holding it, when he lifts it up by the head and he actually looks at it side to side, it has a similar like facial structure to his.
You mean like when he held it like Simba?
Yeah.
When he symboled that shit.
Everything in the darkness that humans cannot reckon with or understand is yours.
Yeah, absolutely. So we cut to black and then another poem. Happy Valley painted black, all the children in a sack. Wave goodbye to sun and moon. Say hello to black balloon. That's fucking eerie, bro. It's the nursery rhymes are just fucked up, man.
Yeah.
It's so good. We see Philip lightly holding a flame to a page of the book that has a child's face in the center of a spider's body. He looks up to see Possum on the wall and walks over to it, looking at its eyes as if it's going to move.
You missed
the
the
second
spot.
he turns its back on it.
So
What's up?
in that picture of the boy's face with the spider's legs, there's candy in front of it.
Oh, I missed that. You're correct.
There's little pieces of candy in front of his face, which I thought was definitely the mystery jar.
Yeah. Yep. He sees Morris in the backyard burning papers in a barrel he'd previously placed the puppet into. He brings Possum outside with him and sets it down next to him. Morris offers him a smoke. He points to the article
once again.
And he laughs when he lights it up.
Yeah. He points to the article about the missing boy and says, "It happened before, didn't it?" He then reminisces about the boys who bullied Philip with the fox when he was younger. Morris was a teacher at Philip's old school, and he was asked by a colleague to apparently teach the bullies a lesson. He didn't describe what he did to them, just their looks on their faces. They were petrified, apparently.
Yeah, he says like the looks on their faces made it worth it or something along those lines.
He's like, we sure showed them.
Yeah, he's like pretty stoked. He's like, remember when I abused children?
It's still
sweet,
so vague.
huh?
Like you don't get what's happening yet.
Yeah, absolutely. He just uses these terms and you're just like, what the fuck did you do?
Meanwhile, Philip's sitting there cradling this fucking puppet like a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking wild, dude. Philip brings Possum over to the fire and stuffs it into the barrel. Morris says, stuffed him inside a bag, didn't he? Wore a mask so they couldn't see him. He then comforts Philip as he cries and apologizes. He gives him a green candy from the jar we'd seen earlier, which makes Philip gag and throw up. And this was fucked up because he's like, he keeps saying, "I'm sorry, I didn't know."
Yeah, right.
And you're just like, what the fuck are you apologizing for?
Like,
Yeah.
okay, pal.
Yeah. Sure you are, bud.
Yeah, right.
Oh, man. So, yeah, after he throws up, it's fever dream time.
Yeah, he has a lot of just like, I think this is when it becomes clear that some of these are like, obviously he's an unreliable narrator just from like you've seen other movies before standpoint. But like in this movie itself, I think this is where it starts to become clear that like
reality
a lot
is breaking.
of what we're seeing, is not necessarily real at all. So so some of these nights, maybe he's just dreaming really intensely about throwing the puppet away. You know, but there's like a lot of different things happening. But yeah, I think this is where it comes really clear that his mind is, and like Jack said, reality is breaking.
Mm-hmm. So it's like stream of consciousness shit. I just kind of wrote it down as it was happening. So Possum is seen hanging in the dark corner of the room. Then it's engulfed in black smoke. Philip is retreating into his bed. We see him cowering from the bag at first, then holding a green candy while the jar sits on the bed. Then black balloons are seen floating up to the sky. Finally, Possum plays red light, green light with Philip as we see his point of view. It's fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
I love the way that they did that. That was such a fucking cool like edit too. Like just seeing the arms kind of like wrapped around the camera, like it's like reaching out and grabbing him. It's so fucking unsettling.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
I was gonna say not a fan, not in that I didn't like this movie, but just like not a fan of spider legs engulfing people, of human-sized spider legs.
The fucking mannequin head.
Yeah, dude, it reminds me of that fucked up toy from Toy Story. Do you remember that one?
Oh, you're so right. You're so right. Yeah.
It's so funny.
Sid's fucking misfit toys. I saw something recently where they were like, why didn't Toy Story ever like revisit how bad all of that fucked Sid up? like as a grown man, like his children aren't allowed to have toys because he's terrified of them.
That's incredible.
He's seen therapists for years. They
exactly.
had him on fucking lithium. Like
he fucking
That's amazing.
He loses his mind anytime he sees a cowboy hat.
So good. Oh man. So Philip awakens to a dark room and frantic knocking. He sees the police at the door when he goes to look, but stays hidden. And when they leave, he sits on the steps to catch his breath. He hears a thudding sound from the dreaded room by the front door, but decides to go back to his room. In the morning, he goes downstairs and presses his ear to the same door. He looks around and calls for Morris. No response. He walks back upstairs to his room where the TV is playing a newscast about the missing boy again. His name is Michael Browning, aged 14, was last seen walking home from school. The police are looking for a suspicious man wearing a beige raincoat who was seen near the old military barracks with the boy.
Yeah,
and, fitting Philip's description.
Flashback. Yeah, matching Philip's description. So we get a flashback to the same boy that Philip had seen on the train earlier from the film. In the film, before the TV shuts off.
I was like terrified. I was like, is this flashback going to show that he was like, oh, what are you drawing? Stabs the shit out of him. Like I definitely thought it was going to be that. The go back and then show what really happened. You know, you know, but it's just him being like looking at the kid. He doesn't do anything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, because like you still can't tell if he's the fucking victim or not.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm saying.
So,
it's
like,
so
is he bad?
Yeah, is he bad? Do we not like him?
Who am I rooting for?
Because you're constantly wondering, like, is he like? Obviously, he's got dark secrets. Obviously, he's got trauma. But to what extent does that inform? Like, did he show kids Possum and that was it? Like did he show Possum and he's like, this is my doll that I made because there were these child murders and you know, and like, was that weird or you know, like did he just show them the doll or did he like in reenact some type of trauma in some way without like knowing? Because I think that's sort of a thing.
What was the set list?
Well, I mean, I let off with desiccated body found by the barracks. That one usually does pretty good.
That's fucking great. We then see him at the same fucked up bridge as before, searching for what we can assume is Possum. This fucking bridge.
He takes it to the bridge.
I have here written, Philip appears on that bullshit bridge built out of 1 2x12 looking for the puppet.
Just like, fuck this piece of shit.
Oh, you know what? We missed a chance earlier when you were talking about him like beating the shit out of Possum, the puppet.
Possum, yeah.
We should have said, talk about a Punch and Judy show.
It's fucking great. Oh,
I wish the listeners could see the look on Jack's face just then. He was like, I regret doing this.
Oh, we in it now, baby. Yeah, so he's searching for Possum, and while at the same time he's avoiding detection from the cops. It's pretty cool. He's like ducking behind cars and shit, and like hiding out.
It's interesting how they transition it into that, because they do a lot of like really cool moment to moment like scene changes that work really well in the moment, where like he's at the bridge looking over the bridge, and then it transfers to it's more like a water treatment tank kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, so he's not looking over a wooden railing anymore, it's like a metal one. And then he walks up the incline, and then we see some cops and like official looking people in the distance, and then it starts transferring to shots where like you could just tell that's what's happening without it having to be super duper
Like
explicit. Yeah, but I really liked that, the way they transferred from him screwing around essentially to like trying to avoid detection.
Yeah, essentially, because you're looking at it and they're like, oh, he's like searching for shit, and then there's also it would just like dip into, oh shit, also the cops are looking for me. It's like,
yeah,
wait a minute, what the fuck? So he's seen on his hands and knees digging through the burnt rubble in the barrel that he had previously placed Possum into when Morris was asking him. Oh, when Morris asks him what he's looking for, he says that he wants to talk to him. He tells him that the police had been by earlier looking for him, but he told them that he was out. Then Morris asks if he found who he was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
When Philip answers no, Morris says maybe he'll turn up. They always do. I fucking love that. I thought it was so fucking so
and then he says, I think he even responds like it's burned. And
so he said Philip says that it's not possible because they burned the puppet together. And then Morris proceeds to gaslight the fuck out of his stepson.
Yeah, he just like laughs in his face, and he's such a fucking creep.
Yeah, dude, he's like, you're confused, like you don't look well. You better lay low for a while.
Morris is about as cool as that bridge.
That's fucking hilarious.
That's so good.
But the way he goes, you better lay low for a while, is just like it carries an air of like, I know you did it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we're still like, but what did he even do? Like,
I got more of a you better lay low, that's what I would do kind of vibe.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But that's what I'm saying. The characters play it so well that both fucking points of view are valid though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you don't know.
But it's slimy. It's a slimy way for him to address the situation. Like, he's not asking him what happened. Tell me your side of the story.
It is 100% shifty.
He's just he's just like, yeah, well, if I did a child murder.
It's like,
exactly. That fucking I don't know if you guys know, OJ wrote a book called If I Had Done It.
Yeah. If I did it.
And yours truly.
It's like, what the fuck, dude? Like, you already won. Just go home. Take your ball and go home.
He's riding this one out.
Dance.
Yeah.
So he tells him that he best lay low for a while, but he also tells him that he's going away and that he won't be there, but he won't say where.
Yeah.
He tells him not to bring trouble home, bloody kids.
Right.
And that's it. Like, that's it. You don't get nothing else. That you're just like, what the fuck does that mean?
I didn't I didn't totally realize that or think long about that. But yeah, that's so purposeful.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So Philip is seen roaming the streets looking confused. He ends up at the former school and asks to see a teacher there who apparently knew what had happened to him and agreed to go with him to the police station.
he says, Mr. So-and-so, he's my form teacher. He knows about what happened. And so it's all very strange.
Because you're just like, wait, who the fuck? He didn't talk to anybody. What the fuck? But while he sits and waits for a staff member to call them out to the front, he gets cold feet and runs out of there. We see him sitting outside of some sort of structure holding the photo of his parents when all of a sudden what looks like black ink begins to pour down on him. It trickles down slowly at first and then eventually covers the entire area while he looks up to the sky.
That shot rules.
Love that
Yeah.
scene. It is
that shot rules.
so well done.
Yeah.
Like him looking up and like the water fucking going into his eyes. Like I was like, dude, how the fuck did they film that? And like, what was in that shit?
That scene made me watch the movie because I saw they put it in the preview.
Oh, did they? Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that one would have sold me too. 1,000%. Here we go. Fever dream time once again. And again, just quick shot. Fucking Philip is standing on the marsh looking defeated. Then he looks back at the spider tree unveiling Possum from the bag like we keep seeing. Only this time, we see Possum moving quickly, which sends Philip running into the forest.
Yeah.
And I'm going to stop here. I really want to say that it is hilarious the way he runs.
Yeah, he has arms down.
He runs with his hands at his fucking waist, just like...
And he wobbles.
Steven Seagal run.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not quite Naruto, but it's almost there. This startles him awake and he realizes he's inside of an empty storage shed of some sort. Possum's legs slowly creep down from above the garage and Philip promptly flees the area. As he's running through the barracks, he keeps turning back to see Possum coming around corners just like we've been seeing in the fever dreams. It's fucking spooky.
Yeah, it is.
It's
Just
so
seeing
good.
the legs come around corners and stuff. I should point out too, like for the listeners, like if this synopsis feels disjointed, that's because that's the movie. Like it goes from him
straight up.
It goes from him like running from cops to he's home. He has this conversation. All of a sudden he's outside laying down and there's just black ink raining on him. Then all of a sudden he's in built like it's very like dream logic.
That's just how it is. Yeah. I transcribed this fucking shot for shot, and even I'm confused.
I didn't realize this till just now, but I feel like it's purposeful with like all the other themes going on in the movie. But the plotting is very much like a third grader telling you a story.
Yeah.
And then there was the spider tree and then the bag moved and then he ran and then the ink rained on him and then his dad left.
So true, dude.
You know,
yeah. That's absolutely.
It just dawned on me. I was like, hey, just so everyone knows, like we're actually explaining this movie really well.
We're trying our fucking best, man. And then also to your point earlier, Jack, the sounds that are like playing during the scene are like unsettling. It's like again with the more like I don't know if this is more tinnitus beeping or if this is
I have here at this point in the movie the hand sanitizer addiction has really started to affect the protagonist.
This man's up to 2 bottles of Purell a day.
2 bottles. That's amazing.
Taken orally, not topically.
Exactly. Oh man, but it's like the sounds are like it's like synth riffs will play every once in a while, but then like just fucking noise takes over. It's fucking cool. Like it's like the sound is just being drowned.
It's very industrial.
It's like a Full of Hell interlude.
Yeah. Oh, shout out Full of Hell. Absolutely. Amen.
It's like The Body was a movie.
Yeah, dude. Oh, that's fucking awesome. Absolutely. I would love to have Full of Hell on the show one day. If you guys listen to this, you're welcome here, please. Philip makes his way to the area we'd seen him go ape shit on Possum earlier, only to find the damn thing fully upright and waiting for him.
Yeah.
He walks over to it almost in a daze, kneels down and surrenders himself completely to it. Disgustingly well done point of view shot of that sweet Possum embrace.
I saw this described online as him having like dreaming of becoming Possum.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Like that's like he's like merging with it rather than being
I have
like
written
engulfed.
down the puppet doesn't seem to want to hurt Philip, but he can't escape it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it always keeps up with him as he's running away. It's never like very far behind. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. I actually really like that read on it. You guys are like changing my perspective on this as we go along. I love
Well,
it.
same.
Cut to Philip lying on the floor next to a photo of his parents spitting up a green candy.
Yeah. And did we mention earlier too, when they're burning the puppet, he eats one, but then he gags immediately.
Yeah,
he barfs it up right away.
Yeah. In this scene, he just like starts convulsing in fear and anxiety for some reason, calling out to Morris.
It's fucking disgusting, dude. He plays it so well. And now also I love this because a different voice narrates the poem now. The parcel opened, out it sprang, the black long-legged possum man. Children run, he'll eat and smother any child without a mother. And I wanted to say that it was Morris's voice doing this narration because it definitely seems more gravelly.
Yeah.
I think it's just his voice getting more haggard and haggard.
Just as he goes on. Yeah, you could be right, too. You're right. Like, he's just getting more fucking burnt out and tired as he goes on. Philip storms back into the house, shouting for Morris. He bangs his head against the wall and sees an image of Possum in the mirror. He gets up and finally walks to the room he's been nervous about entering the entire movie. Inside, he finds blood-stained sheets tossed on the floor and a small glass jar of teeth, which he tearfully holds up to the light. And this is by far one of the most effective jump scares I have ever fucking seen.
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah, there's no indication of it
every
at all.
fucking time.
It morphs into a different movie.
I didn't know Morris could move like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed by that too.
He tackled him like
that old man
tackled his ass.
He's just like, man, these are some rad teeth, and then all of a sudden it just
he's like, wow, I wish my teeth looked like this.
And the room is like burned. The room is burned all around.
It's
like blackened. There's like a part of the floor is missing.
Yeah,
it's like the rest of the house.
I love that you guys are describing it because I forgot to write down the notes, but like I wrote down how the room comes into play essentially. But this is one of the most effective jump scares I've ever seen in a horror film, just because it's so well composed with the soundtrack using distortion as a tool to like confuse and shock, and along with the use of the space, like it's using the shadows so effectively because you do not fucking see it coming at all. Like it is literally just so well done, and like when he jumps out of that corner, it fucking punches you in the gut. You're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
I honestly forgot about it, and then I rewatched it today, and I was like, oh shit.
It's funny too, man, because it's like he just jumps out with the bag and just throws the bag over his head, and I was like, I went back. I was like, did I miss something? I went back a few minutes and watched it again, and I was like, no, I didn't miss anything. It's just incredibly fucking confusing and terrifying. Much like life.
Exactly.
He just bags him in the fucking head.
Yeah, literally. I put here, a masked figure darts out of the shadowy corner of the room and throws the same bag we'd seen the entire time over Philip's head as he tackles him to the ground. Sitting on his chest, the figure unmasks to reveal Morris in all his foul glory.
And he's in like a like tracksuit as well.
Yeah.
Very, very out of left field.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's such a strange thing. And then he holds him down, and
the
he just
plot
starts
definitely thickens at this point.
Yeah.
The last 5 minutes.
He just starts talking about all these horrible things he's done, and
yeah, he starts slapping him around and he's taunting him about coming to see mommy and daddy.
Yeah, he's hitting him like a child, mocking him, his dead parents in the fire.
Yeah,
dude.
Like... And then he says, so then you had to come live with Uncle Morris. So now we understand this is his parents' bedroom. They burned to death in this room, which to me implies that Morris started the fire because he wanted control over Philip.
See, then that does, that reads as well too to me,
and
for sure.
And he goes on to say, don't you like my fingers? And he takes his gloves off, and we see his long, spindly fingers. And you just instantly understand what Possum was about.
Yeah, Philip begins wailing.
Yeah, dude, like an actual screaming baby and crying. No.
And then he tells him, you have to be quiet. Remember, I always made you be quiet when I did this to you. And then he sticks his fingers in his mouth, and
that is,
it's so bad. It's so gross.
It's rough, man.
And he turned
this shit. Yeah, I was trying to finish off my notes for the last of this, and I was just like, all right, I'm at the finish line. God damn, is it far away though?
I literally
3 minutes has never felt so fucking long before.
God damn it, written down 3 times. As soon as it says Maurice starts taking Philip's pants off, I have God damn it.
Yeah, God damn it.
Yeah, he turns him over and he pulls his pants down and he's like, you got to be quiet, just like you were all those years ago. If you cry, I'm gonna start over. I'm gonna give you 6 good ones. And he hits him like 3 times, and every time he like.
But before he actually starts beating him, though, he actually grabs him and he grabs his head and he whispers into his ear that he knew that it was him the entire time out in the barracks, but he never said anything, and that was the reason why that the police were hunting Philip.
Yeah. So the implication is that he was molesting Philip his young life, but he would go and dress in this attire and attack him outside of the home. But he's like, you always knew it was me. And you still didn't say anything. And then we get the implication of there were other kids being kidnapped and murdered by his uncle, and he never said anything. So Possum is like his pain and his guilt.
It's just the physicalization of the weight and the guilt that he's physically carrying around. Inside of him.
And it's such a huge revelation done in dialogue so well. Of like as soon as he says like my fingers, you're like, oh my God, I understand fully what that is. So that's what it seems like is like the thing he did to get in trouble. He pulled Possum out and was like, and then my uncle with his fingers, and everyone was like, whoa, this is over. You're out of here. It's like, what?
Yeah.
It's like Always Sunny.
Like, sir, this is a Wendy's.
Gotta pay the troll toll.
Get that, boys.
But yeah, it's really effective, and it's so horrifying, and you get so much context out of like a short conversation.
Literally 30 seconds, absolutely. What the whole movie's about.
Yeah, everything snaps into place in hindsight, and even things that I was like, okay, I don't think I'm digging this movie. At this point, you're like, oh.
Yeah. And while this is all happening, you hear banging and knocking coming from a chest that is seen nearby in the same room. And Philip overpowers Morris and sitting on top of him while his head is dangling over the edge of the unfinished floor. Like you guys had mentioned, that the floor is just fucking bottomed out. There's pieces of wood.
Yeah, it's so weird.
You can see through it. It's fucking crazy.
It's very much like the Fight Club house.
Yeah. That's so funny. They'll fucking dismantled everything. Yeah, absolutely. He grabs Morris's jaw and snaps his neck backward in like a really cool
fucking
motion.
Kit Kat.
Yeah, dude.
It was like
fucking great.
I was like, finally, dude. Finally.
Yeah.
Just Christ. I was like, you let this old man put his fingers in your mouth.
damn it. Oh man. And he frees the child who was locked in the chest, and we get a final few shots of him sitting in the backyard of his house against the wall, looking absolutely exhausted.
The end.
Cut to black. That's Possum, baby.
I was reading online. They were like, so there's really two possibilities of like, you know, because he opens the chest and frees that kid, and the kid goes running. Mm-hmm. So, or I guess like three possibilities. Two of them are that the kid is in the chest. So the kid's in the chest.
Oh,
Morris is real. He's there. Morris is the one who did it. Philip has been innocent the whole time, but Morris saw Philip returning as a great opportunity to do what he does and have like a patsy to be like, oh, well, this creep just returned to town, and then this boy disappeared because everyone's looking for him. Or there is no Morris, and Philip did take the boy, but because he's fighting with all these traumas.
That's interesting though.
I don't want to think about it more than I have to. This movie's bullshit.
I'm not as much a fan of that interpretation.
Well, and what's then the other one then?
Yeah, I mean, because I think the only reason why they get that is because of the points of dialogue where he says like, "You're not going to see me anymore from now on."
Yeah.
And so you know, I can understand extrapolating that. But I can understand extrapolating that, but it feels like this movie, like so much of it is placed in like this surrealism kind of like foggy reality, which is like, I feel like that actually happens. Like the ending actually just puts everything into perspective and like snaps everything into place, like you said. Because if not, it's too out there.
Yeah,
it's too out there.
Well, the other possibility, and I thought that this was interesting, is that there's no way that kid could have survived locked in a trunk with no food or water or air for like a week, 4 or 5 days, because definitely like 4 or 5 days pass in this movie. So what I saw someone else say is like, he does kill Morris, but there is not really a boy in the trunk. It's that he's like freed that part of himself from what Morris did, and that there's more consequences.
That's really good.
There's more.
That's a really good read on it,
because he still has to then call the police and be like, "Yeah, I killed my uncle. He was trying to kill me. I have all this evidence, etc." You know, like there's
the
more.
Puppet was in the bag, and the puppet wasn't really real. So why would the kid be real if it was in a bag?
Yeah,
in the bag, exactly.
Yeah, because like the puppet was real to a point. Once they burned it, obviously it wasn't physically around anymore. But it was
still there. Yeah.
Yeah, and then that's why
it's fucking fascinating.
Morris
I love that.
fucks with him about whether it's still there, because he just knows how bad he's messed this guy up. All he has to do is
such a good read.
Because that's
freeing his innocence.
Yeah, and that's a big thing that predators do is like the gaslighting and the messing around with them, like psychologically, to then make it so it's
not just physical, it's psychological.
Yeah, to make it so you're too unreliable, of like, even if you tried to eventually say that, everyone's going to be like, well, you act crazy and you're, did this thing that got you in trouble. So like, of course. But
absolutely.
But yeah, the distinction of whether Philip is also an abuser because of the like cycle of violence, but I kind of lean towards him not being, because it seems like
it doesn't seem like he is.
It seems like he just tried to work through all of this with the puppet, and it just was inappropriate and uncomfortable. Not that he like hurt anybody or did anything really wrong.
Yeah, like his growth was like stunted essentially with like he was abused. He had no one to outwardly express this to, so he chose that avenue of like the puppetry. Artist. He's an artist. He chose creative expression.
And then one day he was like, I'm gonna work through it with my puppet. And
exactly.
And nobody liked that.
Exactly. I think it was just more like he was just socially inept and just like wasn't able of like he wasn't able to convey his own thoughts and emotions properly, and therefore everyone was just like, dude, why, you're fucking weird, man. Like,
yeah,
you're
yeah.
weird.
I don't think he like touched a kid or anything, but there is, it does a good job of.
He looks like he
implying
would.
that maybe. Yeah, absolutely.
What'd you say, Jack?
I said he looks like he would.
He does. But yeah, even with the whole like you're a pervert, and he turns around and just like stares those guys down. Yeah. But it's like at that point we don't think about it, but now we're like, well, he knows what he went through as a kid, so like, of course he'd be upset at the
the implication that he was even.
Yeah, it's funny because it's the kind of thing where it's like, yeah, if someone calls you that, like, of course you're going to be upset. That's a really bad thing to be called, to be like, especially when kids are disappearing and someone's just like, oh, it's that pervert. You're like, hold on, motherfucker. Whoa. Like it's a natural thing to want to defend. Like,
yeah,
absolutely. Well, on this show, we like to give the movies that we're talking about a rating out of 6. So it would be, we just all kind of give your own feelings, however you feel rating it. 6 is the highest rating. What would you rate this, Jack?
Well, I had 1 out of 10. Can I do it out of 10? I wrote
on that scale for sure. I wrote. You can do whatever you want, dog.
I wrote 7.3 out of 10.
Okay.
That's fair. I mean, what you could justify it or not, but it's up to you.
I'm very critical with movies, but it was a really good movie. It's very, like you said, and to be interpreted. There's a lot of implications. There's not much going on that really tells you what's happening until, like we said, the fucking very end of the movie. But other than that, I think it was an awesome movie. Everything visually and imagery wise, the music, just the eerie, unsettling vibe of the entire movie. Mm-hmm. The poor lighting, it makes it just overall sick.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like they shot the whole thing on a Polaroid camera, man.
Yeah,
yeah, it really leans into that low, not even necessarily low quality, because it's shot well, but it's like
it's shot very
purposely
well.
not going the highest specs you can,
Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Chad? What are you feeling?
I was thinking lower earlier, but I think I'd give it a good 4 out of 6. It's a strong movie. It's not what I would normally go with. I don't think I'm gonna it's not gonna be one for me going forward that I want to show a ton of people.
It's fair.
I will tell other people to watch it, but it's not one I want to watch with people.
Yeah, of course.
Sure. but I thought it was interesting. I just want to say though, real quick, just because we're gonna wrap up after this, but all the locations he goes to, and the candy. Mm-hmm. So, all the places he went to are very likely places that Morris disposed of bodies. That he went to with him as a kid, and it's very likely that the candy was given to him after being abused and after helping with these kids. And there's that you can make an association.
That's that connotation or that distinction that he has the connection to that in his brain. So whenever he eats the candy, it's that instant flashback for him. That makes sense.
So even if the candy is good, it could still make him sick because he has those associations in his brain. But that was the best I could come up with for the candy. Is that's it's got to be something along those lines. It's
definitely his reward system.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I meant to make this point earlier, but we were talking about the name being called off screen. I think that literally ties in with that. Is that was Morris shouting out to him hey, get over here and pay attention.
That makes sense.
That's why I was okay. I was because I was it happens twice. I was who the fuck is calling him? I was oh, it's the only other character in this movie.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's probably the most obvious layer, but we didn't really talk about it. Is just that Morris is a puppeteer and Philip is his puppet.
absolutely.
That's what he was doing when he was a kid. That's what he's doing now.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Yeah, well, again, with the whole thing where he just literally holds out a fucking cigarette and he just holds it on his lips and he just fucking waits.
Yeah.
And it's just like, God damn, that's fucked.
And I did see someone online say when he laughs at him for smoking, it's because he's like, you're going to be just like me. You're going to victimize kids too.
Oh, that makes sense.
That he's like, look at my influence rubbing off on you. Because he's a much older man who also smokes. So obviously he was smoking while Philip was a child.
That's fucked, man. Yeah, again, the more and more you dig into this movie, the more unsettling and fucking creepy it gets.
I'll give it a 4.5.
And that's
I'm gonna go back and make it a 7, 8.
Yeah.
You got an extra half point for that one.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, for me, I'm gonna rate it at the highest, man. I got a 6 out of 6. I think this is one of those like mood pieces that we rarely come across, in horror, where it's like it's completely a world that's like fully realized. You have two characters, and that's fucking it. Like it is literally you have two.
I wonder how much they
spent
on this movie. Probably not shit. They probably
it said they only made like $32,000 at the box office.
Yeah. So, it sucks. It sucks. Yeah, it fucking sucks, dude. Because like, this movie is fucking phenomenal for whatever they made it off of.
Yeah.
It cost 850,000 euros.
Wow.
What?
They got. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so weird how they put the euros and then they do the dollar translation for the box office. It's so fucking weird.
Yeah, so the international box office was $33,271.
Wow.
So that is
internationally.
That is a huge fucking bomb.
Yeah, massive loss.
That's bad. But I mean, this obviously wasn't meant to be like commercially. Yeah.
Successful. Yeah.
Yeah, it's clearly.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I love the like you said, the visuals aspect of this movie. That really is what appeals to me the most. It's not very long. It's an hour 20. It's mostly just fucking like grimy ass shots of shit, and it looks fucking unsettling and nasty. Bad vibes, a lot of bad vibes, and like I love that. If the movie can invoke that in me, and then it just grosses me out to the point where even the ending didn't even really give me a sense of catharsis. It was just like, okay, fucking sit in it.
Yeah, like, it's like, all right, thanks, that's over.
Yo, so
yeah, exactly. Like, I love that. I love it because I think like art is meant to be challenging. You know what I mean? I think it's meant to do that.
Yeah,
so that's why I personally rated it a lot higher. That's why I was like super excited that you brought this to the table. But
I gotta say this. So it was funded by the BFI, the British Film Institute. Okay. So they use funds provided by the government? No, the British National Lottery gives the British Film Institute money, and then they turn around and they give that money to filmmakers to make movies,
so they can make movies like Possum. Fuck.
without an expectation of return. They make movies like this, but they made almost 2 million euros in revenue last year. So I don't think they're really like a company that makes money. They're just a company that passes money over to filmmakers to make crazy, interesting films.
You got to respect that then at some point, because that's really cool actually.
Yeah, that is pretty sick. Because I was like, how could you take that big of a financial loss and like there's nothing commenting on it? And then I clicked over to the BFI information. So I'm gonna look into more movies that have come out through the BFI.
Hell yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, we're gonna probably just open the floor up to Jack right now. Let you talk about what you got coming up. What's in store for 156, man?
Plug.
All right,
plug that shit, bro.
We have an upcoming tour with Unearth and Upon a Burning Body, May 4th through the 19th. Playing.
I'm going to the LA show. I'm so fucking ready,
playing some songs we've never played before in front of audiences, so that'll be interesting. We have RFS coming up on June 10th in Savannah, Georgia, with Bury Your Dead, Body Snatcher, Left to Suffer, Kalinashi, and more.
Bury Your Dead is the shit. Oh my god.
We got playing at Preserving Underground with Acacia Strain and Integrity on June 14th in Pittsburgh.
Damn, Acacia Strain. You guys have been out with them, huh?
Oh, we love them. They're the fucking best, dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fucking legends.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I was about to say.
We have a tour in the works right now in July. That's to be announced. I can't really talk about it, but
for sure.
The band rhymes with Schmortha Schmocks. And that should be it for the year until we go to record the new album in January.
Dude, I'm fucking excited. Oh my god, hell yeah. Like
packed year.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't urge everybody to go check out 156 Silence
hell yeah
hard enough, because I absolutely adore this band. We were talking earlier off mic about I record my own. I have an EP that's going to be dropping soon in about a month's time. But when I go to record the music, I literally put on 156 to get fucking hyped. Like I just throw it on, fucking start screaming along, dude. So I absolutely adore this band. It means the world that you came on.
Yeah,
man.
thank you.
Thank you for being such.
Thank you so much for being so fucking cool and approachable, man. I know we met at the LA show.
Oh, dude, you're the man.
Year. I appreciate it a lot, man. That was so much fun. But also, we'd like to also ask our guests if they have any suggestions for movies that they'd like to see us cover, like, ones that don't get talked about enough, or anything in that nature. Like, you got any suggestions for us?
Hold on one second.
You do have a list.
I have a list.
I was gonna say it sounds like he has a list. that was list cadence.
That's fucking great.
This is it. It's an A24 movie called The Death of Dick Long.
That's so funny. That one keeps coming up in conversation recently. That's so funny. Okay. Interesting.
It's another not show everybody video or movie.
Yeah, absolutely. That's our specialty. That's our fucking bread and butter, dog.
I would say probably like definitely a portion of our audience is here just to hear it, not to see it. They're like, it's fascinating, but I can't.
I've talked with people in person who literally tell me, they're like, I can't watch a lot of the movies you guys talk about, but I love listening to them.
Yeah, it's kind of like the whole idea of like true crime as well, where it's like a lot of these people wouldn't watch like a movie where this stuff happens, but they could listen to like and then he tied up 14 children in his shed, and then it's like, oh, it's fine, it's an audio format,
it's fine. Yeah, absolutely. It's digestible. You know what I mean? Helps the medicine go down.
Yeah, but that's the one only off the top of my head that I can think of making people watch would be pretty funny.
Honestly, man, yeah, we love like the obscure ones that like again that not really a lot get talked about, but like A24 is our fucking our home.
The bread and butter,
man. Like
obviously. I'm going to see Beau is Afraid tomorrow, and I'm pumped.
Nice.
Oh, I'm excited. You gotta let me know how that is, because I'm very curious about that movie.
I keep hearing people just talking so much shit, but it's always
people are shitting.
It's always from people who like.
I don't care either.
Like if they said a movie was good, I'd be like, oh, so I shouldn't see that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I'm sure those same people would not enjoy Possum.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Fuck 'em. Oh man, but Chad, do you want to give us our socials? Hit them with everything. Let them know where they can find us.
Yeah, so you can
give them our plug.
You can find us on Instagram at The Devil's Work Podcast. The Devil's Work Pod, right?
Yeah,
The Devil's Work Pod, and we're on Facebook as The Devil's Work Podcast, You can find us on Spotify or your podcatcher of choice, whichever it may be.
You're listening to this.
Please remember to hit us with that good 5-star rating, maybe a review. We would love to read some reviews out on here. We also have a Gmail account, the Devil's Work Podcast at gmail.com. Let us know what you thought of Possum. Let us know what you thought of other movies we've reviewed. We would, really love to maybe tack on a like retroactive viewer review kind of segment where we could.
Yeah, I would love to introduce that segment.
If you really just want to rail on Possum, like we're here for it. Just let us know.
Tell us if you fuck with that bridge or not.
Yeah.
Fuck that bridge.
Do you two have a passion for how shitty this bridge is?
Absolutely. And next week we're gonna be back with a very fun one. We recorded Baskin.
Oh yes,
Baskin's fucking weird, man. You want to talk about a fucking weird movie?
Yeah,
that's our other ACAB episode for sure.
Yeah, Jack, you should definitely watch Baskin. That's another very interesting. It's got similar unreliable vibes. BASKIN.
No, BAS.
Right,
BASKIN.
Yeah, which I meant to say on that episode, but I forgot to. But it literally translates to like a heaviness or like a foreboding. But I guess another translation of it is like a raid. So it kind of works on multiple levels. It works. Yeah,
it works. It's a bunch of cops that go to hell. That's all you need to know.
Right.
My dream.
Let's go. I'm in.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, if you guys are still with us next week, we'll be here. Thank you so much, Jack. I cannot tell you what this means to me. Thank you so much. We hope to have you back again.
I'll see you soon. See you at the show.
If you're in the LA area, go to the show. Not only do you get to see 156 Silence, you might get to meet Jack. You definitely get to meet Joey.
Yeah, right? Absolutely. All right, you guys. Take care. Thank you guys so much.
Later, bud.